Okay. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadramaya Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय. Hare Krishna, welcome all for the Bhagavatam class and happy Makara Sankranti to everyone. Today very auspicious and festival day and we are celebrating the Makara Sankranti. In our temple also we decorated very well and resembling the Sankranti celebrations. So we'll read the Bhagavatam, second canto, 6th chapter, 40 and 41 sloka today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayed Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. We'll read the shloka first and then we'll continue. Please repeat after me. Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyagavastitham satyam purnamanaadyantam nirgunam nityamadvayam. Do I need to increase the size of the text? Is this fine? Yeah. And the next 41 sloka also. Rushe vidanti munayaha. Rushe vidanti munayaha. Prashantatmendriyashayah. Yada tadeva sattairkai stirodhiyeta viplutam. Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyagavasthitam. Oh, sorry. Is fine? Yeah. Yeah. Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyagavasthitam satyam punamanadyantam nirgunam nityamadvayam ऋषे विदन्ति मुनयः प्रशन्तात्मेन्द्रियाशयाः यदा तदेवासततैर्कैः धीरोधीयेत विप्लुतम्. Yeah, anyone wants to repeat it? Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyagavasthitam satyam purnamanadyantam nirgunam nityamadvayam ऋषे विदन्ति मुनयः प्रशान्तात्मेन्द्रियास्तः यदा तदेवासक्तर्कैः तिरोधीयेत विप्लुतम्. हरे कृष्ण. विशुद्धं केवलं ज्ञानं प्रत्यक् सम्यगवस्थितं सत्यं पूर्णमनाद्यन्तं निर्गुणं नित्यमद्वयम् ऋषे विदन्ति मुनयः प्रशान्तात्मेन्द्रियास्तयाः. यथा तदेवासक्तर्कैः तिरोधीयेत विप्लुतम्. विशुद्धं केवलं ज्ञानं प्रत्यक् सम्यगवस्थितं सत्यं पूर्णमनाद्यन्तं निर्गुणं नित्यमद्वयम् ऋषे विदन्ति मुनयः शान्तात्मेन्द्रियाशयाः. यदत् एव तर्कैस्तिस् तिरोधीयेत विप्लुतम्. विशुद्धं केवलं ज्ञानं प्रत्यक् सम्यगवस्थितं सत्यं पूर्णमनाद्यन्तं निर्गुणं नित्यमव्ययम् प्रशान्तात्मेन्द्रियाशयाः. यदा तत्सेव सत्तर्कैः तिरोधीयेत विप्लुतं. माताजी विशुद्धं केवलं ज्ञानं प्रत्यक् सम्यवस्थितं सत्यं पूर्णमनाद्यन्तं निर्गुणं नित्यमद्वयम् ऋषे विदन्ति मुनयः प्रशान्तात्मेन्द्रियाशयाः. Okay, Actually, this second verse, it is having the Dvitvakshara. It's actually, when we are pronouncing it in the Sanskrit, it combines actually. Basically in English it is very difficult, but if you go with the Sanskrit or in Telugu language, it is like Tadeva Sattarkai Sthiro. It is actually Sthiro Dhiyeta Viplutam. But it is divided into two parts, and so Tarkais Sthiro Dhiyeta Viplutam. So we have to combine them while reciting the complete sloka. Okay, we'll read the synonyms and translation. Vishuddham, without any material tinge. Kevalam, pure and perfect. Jnanam, knowledge. Pratyak, all pervading. Samyak, in fullness. Avasthitam, situated. Satyam, truth. Purnam, absolute. Anadi, without any beginning. Antam, and so also without any end. Nirgunam, devoid of material modes. Nityam, eternal. Advayam, without any rival. Rishe, O Narada, O great sage. Vidanti, they can only understand. Munayaha, the great thinkers. Prashanta, pacified. Atma, self. Indriya, senses. Ashaya, sheltered. Yada, while. Tat, that. Eva, certainly. Asat, untenable. Tarkai, arguments. Tira diyeta, disappears. Viplutam, distorted. Translation. The personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contaminations of material tinges. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. He is all pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival. O Narada, O great sage, the great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings, and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. Otherwise, by untenable arguments, all is distorted, and the Lord disappears from our sight. Purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here is an estimation of the Lord apart from His transcendental activities in the temporary material creations. Mayavada philosophy tries to designate the Lord as contaminated by a material body when He accepts forms of incarnation. This sort of interpolation is completely denied herein by the explanation that the Lord's position is pure and unalloyed in all circumstances. According to Mayavada philosophy, the spirit soul, when covered by nescience, is designated as Jiva. But when freed from such ignorance or nescience, he merges into impersonal existence of the absolute truth. But here it is said that the Lord is eternally the symbol of full and perfect knowledge. This is His speciality, perpetual freedom from all material contaminations. This distinguishes the Lord from the individual common living entities who have the aptitude for being subordinated by the nescience and thus becoming materially designated. In the Vedas it is said that the Lord as Vijnanam Anandam, full of bliss and knowledge. The conditioned souls are never to be compared to Him because such individual souls have the tendency to become contaminated. Although after liberation, the living entities can become one with the same quality of existence as the Lord, His very tendency to become contaminated, which the Lord never has, makes the individual living entity different from the Lord. In the Vedas it is said, Shuddham apapavidham. The individual Atma becomes polluted by sin but the Lord is never contaminated by the sins. The Lord is compared to the powerful sun. The sun is never contaminated by anything infectious because it is so powerful. On the contrary, infected things are sterilized by the rays of the sun. Similarly, the Lord is never contaminated by sins. On the contrary, the sinful living entities become sterilized by the contact with the Lord. This means that the Lord is also all-pervading like the sun, and as such, the word pratyak is used in this verse. Nothing is excluded from the expansions of the Lord's potency. The Lord is within everything and He is all-covering also, without being disturbed by the activities of the individual souls. He is therefore infinite and the living entities are infinitesimal. In the Vedas it is said that only the Lord alone exists and all others' existence depend on Him. He is the generating reservoir for everyone's existential capacity. He is the supreme truth of all other categorical truth. He is the source of everyone's opulence, and therefore no one can equal Him in opulence, being full of opulences, namely wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Certainly He is the supreme person, and because He is a person, He has many personal qualities, although He is transcendental to the material modes. We have already discussed the statement, Iddham Bhuta Guno Harihi. His transcendental qualities are so attractive that even the liberated souls, Atma Ramas, are also attracted by them. Although possessed of all personal qualities, He is nevertheless omnipotent. Therefore, personally, He is nothing to do, for everything is being carried out by His omnipotent energies. This is confirmed by the Vedic mantras. A bit more. We'll read it later. And this, or can we continue and finish this reading? We discuss and then we'll continue to read it, right? That's better. Otherwise, we'll. So, Parasya. Okay, we'll go with prayers before continue our discussion. Hope you are able to see my screen. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vyasadeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, actually this verse is very, very important verse. You know, when I was reading the purport and listening to the, listening to the previous Acharya lectures, actually this chapter, Canto 2 is about cosmic manifestation, and chapter 6 explains about the Purusha Sukta, I mean the form of the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in that we are going with the 40 and 41 shloka. So 40 shloka says that the personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contaminations of material tinges. So basically we always, or the Mayavada philosopher says that when the Krishna descends into this material world, he also contaminated. That means like Krishna is also normal person. So he came to this material world, that means he also contaminated with the material modes of nature. That is a kind of saying by the Mayavadis. But this shloka is very strong enough to say that Krishna is pure forever. It is never going to be, like he is never going to be contaminated by the material tinges. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. There is no doubt at all, because it's straightforward, the verse it is clearly mentioning, and he is all pervading, he is everywhere. He is pervaded to all the living beings and the nature and living and non-living things, and everywhere Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is pervaded. And he is Adi for everything, but he doesn't have any starting point. There is a kind of beginning or end, without any beginning or end, and without rival. No one is there beyond him, and no one is there to control him. So that is a kind of, this 40 verse explains. So we'll see, we try to understand what Srila Prabhupada is trying to say in the purport. I try to put the points over here as it is and try to, copy paste. I was listening to one of the lecture, who creates a new Siddhanta, he is actually a Mudha. Is called as a murkha or rascal, most of the times Srila Prabhupada says, because the Vedas are already defined in such a way that where it is clearly mentioned about the God, nothing to you yourself find out a new philosophy. There is no need, because Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, it gives clear indication about the God and why you are bewildered to find out new solutions and new theories. If we try to find out a new theory, that means rascal number one. That's what in most of the Srila Prabhupada lectures we hear. Okay, so and in the 41, his Brahma and Narada's discussion is ongoing. So he is mentioning Narada. The great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings. When we are stop thinking in the material level and we cross the Shuddha Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna, and if we are in the Shuddha Sattva Guna, then we can understand Krishna. And who will do that and who crosses this, and they can only understand material hankerings. And so that is a kind of information which is given by, So what exactly the interpretation of Mayavada's philosophy? Here, Mayavada philosophy tries to designate the Lord as contaminated by the material body when he accepts the form of incarnation. Right? So that means the Mayavadi says they read the same Bhagavad Gita, and they read all the slokas in the whatever that is mentioned in the Gita, but they says that God is formless. There is no form for the God. That is their philosophy. And at the same time they says that, okay, Krishna is a person. I was listening to one of the, when I am discussing one of the person, he was mentioning that he is Nirguna, and actually the Supreme is an energy which entered into Krishna, and Krishna spoken this Bhagavad Gita. So that is a kind of interpretation. So that the supreme energy which is there, which entered into the heart of Krishna, and the Krishna is speaking. So that is, there are different people, different thoughts are there. Even they read the same Bhagavad Gita shlokas. You understood what I am saying? Krishna just is a person in the material world. There is some energy entered into him and he is spoken in Bhagavad Gita. He is not supreme. So that is a kind of Maya philosophy. That means like Mayavada philosophy also says that when Krishna as a supreme, he entered into the material physical body and he is contaminated. No. So what Srila Prabhupada is making a point here, even you can see this is actually copied from the purport. This sort of interpretation is completely denied herein by the explanation that the Lord's position is pure and unalloyed in all circumstances. How we can understand this? We generally, see the jail is there, in this material world, right? Any one of us went to the jail? No. If we went to the jail, we don't be coming here. Or so in the jail, the people who do the mistakes, big mistakes and killing the people, and that will be those people will be put into the jail, right? So the jail is binded by some rules. The person who is inside the jail, he needs to follow certain rules. He is not free to move anywhere and everywhere. He has some limitations. Basically in Hyderabad there is one Chenchalguda jail. I was crossing by that and it's having big walls. You cannot get out of that even if you want to get out of that, right? We try, there are some thieves, they try to dig the, well inside this, and we see that in the movies, right? But they cannot get out of that because that is strongly, builded. I mean, that is there, and strong walls are there. So, but the king is there, or the politician, or you can see, you can think in the politician level or the king, he can enter into the jail very easily, right? Is it possible for us if we do some mistake and then only we enter jail, and there are rules are bounded by the rules for the thief? But as a king, he can enter and he can do whatever he wants, and he can do the changes, he can manipulate everything, he can reorganize the rules and regulation, he can do everything, and he can come out of on his own will. So that is the supremacy, actually, if you understand it's a material example with the Krishna's position. Krishna is very free. He can come into this material world anytime, any moment. There is no need of, basically whenever we think of birth of Krishna, we think that he come as a material person. Okay, he also born to Devaki Vyasadeva in the prison, but his birth is explained very well in the Vedas, how he took birth, how Krishna as an incarnation came into this material world, right? So by taking this example, and if you see the image, king is very free, he can go inside and he come outside anytime and every time. Similarly, the Krishna can come into this material world, do whatever he wants, and he can move away from this material world anytime. I think everyone knows that there is no need of mother and father. How Lord Narasimha appeared from a pillar. Prahlad Maharaj was mentioning when Hiranyakashipu asks Maharaj, where is your Mahavishnu? You are continuously telling that Vishnu is there, everywhere. Can you show me that? And then Prahlad Maharaj shown a pillar. Yes, Hiranyakashipu shows that your Vishnu is there in this pillar. Yes. Prahlad Maharaj says yes. Indu galadandu ledani sandeham valadu chakri sarvopagattundu endendu vetikina andande galadu. It's from Potana Bhagavatam, nice explanation about the incarnation of Narasimha. So when Hiranyakashipu is the pillar, and then Lord Narasimha appears with a big roaring, right? And actually, there is no reason, you cannot understand on the material plane how Lord Narasimha came from the pillar, and if you start creating some rules and regulations or you try to understand it, it is very difficult for us and the material, with the material body as a soul, an individual soul, very difficult to understand the incarnation of the Krishna. You have to believe it. The Lord appeared and for his devotees. Okay, so is there any rule that he should not appear from the pillar? No, right? It's his will. He can come anywhere and everywhere. So we can understand, and Srila Prabhupada mentions this in the purport. Then the sun is never contaminated by anything infectious because it is so powerful. On the contrary, infected things are sterilized by the rays of the sun. Similarly, the Lord is never contaminated by the sins. On the contrary, the sinful living entities become sterilized by the contact with the Lord. So, if you see the sunlight in the morning or any time if you see the sunlight, is the sunlight having any restrictions that it only goes on the trees, it only goes onto the river, it only goes onto the sea and the good things which smells very nice and then only the sunlight will be appear? No, right? Sunlight goes everywhere and dries up the bad things also. Right? We never think that God is very, sunlight is very pure. It doesn't contaminate it when it touches the bad order things on the material plane. It goes and it touches, the sun rays touches all the things and it dries up. And if sunlight is not there, it's very difficult to survive in this material world. Right? In the morning itself you can see there is a roar in the Musi canal. How much dirt water is coming into the river. It's going and it's going, and there always sunlight is coming and drying up. And if summer comes in and everything is dried up. So all the bad smell odor will go away. Luckily today is very auspicious day of Makara Sankranti. It is actually the significance of sun. He is moving from one place to the other place. Makara Sankramana. So, if you see this in the picture, this is a kind of village. There is no restriction that sun can be there in the village, and sun is there on the mud, and sun is there on the, sunlight is there on the trees also, in the nice place. But do you say that sunlight is coming on this mud, that means is contaminated? Sun is contaminated with this mud? No. So that is the point, here in this sloka it is mentioned, Vishuddha. God is always pure. And God is all pervaded. He's there everywhere as sunlight is going into the each nook and corner of this, the material world, if you see. If we switch off all the lights, even there will be a little darkness, but we have still light, right? Because sunlight is there and we can have the sunlight. If sun goes off, and then we are completely dark. That means sunlight can enter into every nook and corner. That is a great example. And as the mud is purified or dried up, when it get the contact with the sunlight, when we get contact with the God, and we will be purified. Right? There is one more example we can say, and just I can remember. You have iron rod and there is a fire. Okay, you put that iron rod into the fire, and after few hours, if you keep on burning it, the iron rod becomes fire. It looks very red, right? So that means that the iron rod is actually an iron, it's a material which get contacted with the fire, it got purified. I mean, it got fire, quality into that. Similarly, when we get connected to the God, we will be purified as a soul. And so that we can go back home back to Godhead. Okay, this is the kind of two examples, or one example which is mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. And also we try to understand who is God, and these terms also mentioned. God is infinite, is unlimited, right? Ananta, and God is Vibhu Atma. This Anu Atma, Vibhu Atma concept also explained in the Bhagavad Gita very well. And Jiva is infinitesimal, is very, very minute, small. That is a clear explanation about the soul, right? Najayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavita va nabhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. It doesn't take birth, and that kind of definitions already there in the Bhagavad Gita. And Keshagra Shatabhagasya, and if you take the tip of your hair and if you chop into 10,000 times, and that is the size of the soul. It's very minute, you cannot see that. So it is a infinitesimal, very, very small. And Jiva is called as Anu Atma. God is called as Vibhu Atma, is Ananta, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadi Radhir Govinda, Sarvakarana Karanam. He is everything actually, Sarvakarana Karanam. He is responsible for everything, what is happening in this, nature and this Srushti. So that way we can understand God is infinite, as similar to Sun God, how He is all pervaded and He is giving the light to this material world, right? So we try to understand this bit more, but how to believe it. So to believe it, we have to go with the words of our prominent acharyas, bona fide gurus, right? If we believe that, and then only we can understand. Then what is the importance of bona fide spiritual master? We got good understanding of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, that is clearly mentioned about the God, super soul, soul, nature, and the trigunas, everything. So we have to believe God. If we don't believe, it's a kind of we are in ignorance, in the ajnana. If we wanted to have the knowledge, we have to go to the spiritual master. This is a kind of small story. There are around 4 or 5 blind people who get into an elephant. They never seen the elephant. I mean, they never get in touch with the elephant in the past. They went to the elephant, and one holds the trunk of the elephant, and he says that it looks like a big snake. As why I am putting this point here is Mayavada philosophy. They says that the God is not having any form, but they have to believe it. How? With a understanding, with a bona fide spiritual master. And the other person who holds the the leg of the elephant, he thinks that it's a kind of tree. Right? It's very big. He holds that tree trunk. He says that the elephant is tree trunk, not it's a kind of this thing. And the other blind person goes and he holds the ear of the elephant, and it looks like it is moving and it's very big. He says that this is a fan. Fan is there, and the elephant means he says that it's a fan. And the other person who touches the tail, and he says that it's like a snake, or it's a kind of funny mouse. So because the tail is having some hair, and he holds that, and he says that it's a mouse. So they have their own experiences, and taking those experiences, and they are saying that elephant is like fan, elephant means a tree trunk, elephant means, someone says, the blind man says, it's a kind of snake. But there is one person who is having the vision and understanding, and he crossed by and they are arguing each other. And then the person says that, we can say it as a guru, he says that, no, elephant will have, big trunk, there are 2 ears, and the big 4 legs, and the tail, so it combines into an elephant. And then these blind men understands that, okay, elephant means, it's a very big one, and it has having the eyes, nose, and everything. The clear explanation is given by the guru. So, similarly, we have to understand the supremacy and supremacy of the Lord Krishna by considering the Vedas, and especially by the descriptions given by the Guru. And then only we can understand. Otherwise, we go with the Mayavada philosophy and we think that, okay, God is formless, and God is only in the, energy form. He doesn't have any beautiful forms, Unfortunately, one question which always runs in my mind, that how the God as a formless energy, he gives a structure to this material world and to you as a person with the 2 legs and beautiful face and nice mouth. To smell, you have nice nose. You can have everything. But the same person says that no, God is formless. If God is formless, and if he himself is not able to create a form, and then how he becomes a God? How it is an energy which is not capable to create an form for itself. Right? You understand the point? Mayavadi philosophy says that if the God is formless and you have a form and you have a structure and you take photographs, nice photographs everywhere, selfies, you say that I am very beautiful, but the energy which is created by created you and this nature which is very beautiful, but it doesn't have form. So there is a kind of formless or baseless philosophy we can understand by this example, as they can understand on the Brahma Jyoti level, but the Paratattva is defined in 3 levels, right? Brahma Jyoti, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Vadanti tattva vedastatvam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. The ultimate is Bhagavan, supreme, but they end up in the Brahma Jyoti level. Because they only see the light. We can only see the light, and they say that, okay, light is everything. I merge into the Brahman. So, but when you reach out to a bona fide spiritual master, and then only we can understand as blind men understand the elephant. Right? So we go forward to understand it is, as we said, Vedas are the bona fide knowledge, and bona fide spiritual master explains it. Krishna is Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum, and from there we have nice disciplic succession, and where we get in contact with our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada and his movement as ISKCON, right? So here we can see some references, and so that we can understand what scripture says and how the supreme God is pure and he never contaminated. And we can also understand this part as God is infinite and Jiva is very, very small and minute particle of Krishna. Okay. This sloka says, Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashyasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. And Sanatana means actually it is started, we don't know when it is started. That is Sanatanaha. So Krishna himself saying it's a fragmental part of mine, and which is Sanatanaha. Mamaiva Amsho. It is an Amsha which is coming from me, and which is a fragmental part of me. Manashyasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshani. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which includes the mind. Along with our 5 senses, and there is a mind which is, we are bewildered with that mind. and we are under the control of trigunas, mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. Sattva, rajas, tamo, guna. We are blinded by that, and that is the reason we are suffering here. To get out of that, we have to understand who is Krishna and what is our position, what is God's position. If we understand that, then only we can move forward and understand and advance in Krishna consciousness. Okay? And there is one more sloka from the Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sojuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and the activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So it's very important to understand the birth of Krishna, why he comes to this material world, and how he appeared. Now actually, if you see this picture, you can understand, actually Krishna, he appeared as a four-handed form in front of Devaki and Vasudeva. And when they, just I'm giving a quick one and brief one, when they asked, like, if you come with this form and then everyone recognizes you as a god, and how it becomes like you are my son. So my son should be very cute, nice, and with nice cheeks and everything. And then he become very small child as Krishna. You can see, right? The small child, Krishna. So it's janma karma cha me divyam yo vetti tattvataha. Evam yo vetti tattvataha. Who knows that my birth and my activities are, divyam. They are extraordinary. If you see Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Etejam Shakala Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. If we have lot of references where Krishna, he himself is supreme, right? So like that, if we try to understand his janma and karma, his birth and his activities, and we will be purified. And when we understand this, we cannot come back to this material world again. Punaravruttino Arjuna. Punarjanma naiti mameti sojuna. Who will come back to me, my world, Goloka, and there is no falling back to this material world. Okay? And that is the way, we can understand. And there is one more sloka also I took a reference. 7.2, and this is a kind of the end of the sloka. We can quickly read the other part of the purport where we left. You're able to see the text purport, right? Not changed. Actually, there is a problem with my laptop. If I change, let's see. Now it is visible, right? Okay, we read until this, and this is the confirmed by the Vedic mantras. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyacha. This suggests his specific spiritual form which can never be experienced by the material senses. He can be seen only when the senses are purified by devotional service. Yam evaisha vrunate tena labhaya. As such, there are basic differences between the Lord and the living entities in so many respects. No one can be compared to the Lord. As the Vedas declare, Ekam eva dvaitam eva Ekam eva dvitiyam brahma dvaitad vai bhayam bhavati. The Lord has no competitor and he has nothing to fear from any other being, nor can anyone be equal to him. Although he is He is the root of all other beings. There are basic differences between him and other beings. Otherwise, there would have been no necessity for the statement in the previous verse that no one can know him 100% as is. Nayam vidanti tattvena. That no one can fully understand him is explained also in the verse, but the qualification for understanding to some degree is mentioned here. Only the prashantas who understand the birth of the janma karma cha me divyam, and then only he will understand and he will advance in the bhakti. Otherwise it's very difficult. And this prashantas is rishis, or the unalloyed devotees of the Lord, can know him to a greater extent. The reason is that the devotees have no demands in their lives but to be obedient servants of the Lord, while all others, namely the empiric philosophers. Basically, the devotees, they don't have any expectations on Krishna. I mean, I need this, I need that. Especially in ISKCON temples we see, no one comes for some material desires. They only come, on the devotional part I am saying, and the devotees, they come to give, to take the shelter of Krishna. It's a kind of surrender to Krishna. I need this, I need that. And then if you have such kind of desires, and most of the people go to the other temples and get the pujas done and the havans done, and still suffer. But in Krishna consciousness, we only come to Krishna to show the unalloyed, ahaituki apratihata. There is no desires to do the devotion. That is what it is mentioned. The mystics and the fruity workers are basically have some demand. And as such they cannot be pacified. The fruity workers wants to reward for his work. If he do something and he expects that, okay, God should give me this, and so that I am happy. I am doing this fruitful activity, I am doing annadan, I am doing this and I am doing that, and so that my miseries will go away. That is a kind of expectation, right? And there are demands, but the devotees, they doesn't have any demands in their lives. Somehow or other, as long as there is a demand for sense satisfaction, there is no chance of pacification. On the contrary, by the unnecessary dry speculative arguments, the whole matter becomes distorted, and thus the Lord moves still further away from our understanding. When you have your personal desires, and then automatically the God moves away. Actually, if we try to understand, there is very little space, and there only one person can stay inside our heart. Krishna wants that fully. He don't want all other things also there in our heart, and along with Krishna also sits uncomfortably in one corner. No, he wants to sit in the hearts of the devotees full. If we have the desire, and then only Krishna comes towards us. And if we don't have the desire, and we have other desires, and then the Krishna fulfills our desires, and we will be moving away from him. That is, Srila Prabhupada here, it is clearly mentioned, move still further away from our understanding. Thus, dry speculators, however, because of their following the principles of austerity and penance, can have knowledge of the impersonal features of the Lord to some extent, but there is no chance of their understanding his ultimate form as Govinda, because only the Amalatmanas, or the completely sinful person, can accept pure devotional service to the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the shloka which I mentioned here. Esham tvanta gatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante ma dhrudavrata. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated or freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with the determination. There is no other thoughts. If you are, bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudhurlabha. It's very difficult to get the connection with Krishna, and it's very tough to follow the Krishna bhakti, especially, because there are a lot of, on the material plane, it gives lot of restrictions, but at the same time, if you start thinking about Krishna and making a loving relationship with Krishna, you feel pleasure, very happiness, and you will be blissful with the rules and regulations which are there in the Krishna consciousness, for example. So like that, if we are done with our all, bad karmas, and we come in contact with Krishna, and then we will be very happy in our life. So this is a kind of, we can understand the supremacy of the Lord, and the concept of the Mayavada philosophy is they need in this verse very clearly. So before closing this topic, actually just I wanted to give a couple of words about the Makara Sankranti. So Sankranti is, and the word actually comes from Sankramana. Sankramana means moving and entering into something. So sun is entering into Uttarayana Punyakala and entering into the Capricorn as a stars actually. There are 12 stars, right? Aries, you can see that. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpion, Sagittarius, Capricorn. So sun is entering into this Capricorn, what we say, zodiac sign. Actually, no, it's actually the stars. This says one star name, but it's a kind of the club of many stars. So sun is moving and entering into the Capricorn now. So from here, from today, in the Vedas it is mentioned that the sun is moving towards the north. So it's a kind of Punyakala which starts from this day. So there are, Makara Sankranti marks the transition of the sun from the zodiac sign of the Sagittarius, Dhanu, to Capricorn, Makara, which is why it is celebrated as Makara Sankranti. The festival signifies the end of the winter and the beginning of the harvest season. And we, especially in Telugu states, we get all the harvested, or many states I think, all things comes into our home, I mean on the harvesting side, and they celebrate everything with all decorated sugar cane. So this is actually which is fructified and which is ready to eat, right? And the sun is also moving towards the north, Uttarayana Punyakala. And Bhishmadeva also waited for this Punyakala, and so that he can leave his physical body in the Uttarayana Punyakala. So that way, this today is very special day, and also there are the Vedas saying that we have to give tarpanas to our forefathers on this day, and so that they will attain the or move towards God in their further lives. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any comments or quick questions? Otherwise, we conclude. Anyone have any comments? No? Okay, then thank you very much. Grandharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.